Hey guys, welcome back. Joe Brunsman, insurance broker to the stars. And today I'm talking about really the one simple reason it all boils down to one thing on why InsurSec is not going to be replacing MSPs. Now, I've seen, I was on Tech Tribe and there's kind of this big conversation about it. And I was like, man, you guys are crazy. This is never going to happen. So, in case you guys haven't seen this already, here's just a couple examples for you. This is Tokyo Marine, HCC. They're saying, hey, we work with CrowdStrike, next gen antivirus, EDR, threat intelligence, managed threat hunting, blah, blah, blah. All right, this is CFC. This is vulnerability scanning, threat monitoring, real-time cyber attack prevention, blah, blah, blah. This is a company called Up4, which I believe is just a third-party vendor for Hiscox cyber insurance. Pardon me. Right, with autonomous security, whatever that really means. This is Appe, right? And you'll see that they've got preferred pricing on all this other stuff. So, you'll see Know-Before, AWS, N01, Cloudflare, Microsoft, Rapid7, kind of all the main players. What does all this boil down to? What's the biggest problem? Why is none of this ever going to work? It's because of the insurance agent / broker. That's the biggest problem. That's the crux of the issue. None of this stuff is ever going to get off the ground. MSPs, a minute and a half in, you have nothing to worry about here. All right? Why? Insurance agents, we're the gateway to the client, right? There's a bunch of practical reasons for that. But also there's some contractual reasons behind that as well that you guys wouldn't know about between us and insurance companies. But we're obviously highly protective of our clients in general. All right. Also, you have to understand that, man, like 99.9% of insurance folks just don't get cyber insurance. They don't get cybersecurity. They're never going to figure it out, and they want nothing to do with it. All right. They're not really any different than, I'm sure a bunch of MSPs are watching this. They're not really any different than a bunch of your other clients. I'm sure some of you have like cyber insurance, or I'll just say insurance agents as clients. They don't want to know the first thing about this stuff. It's too new. It changes too fast. It's too complicated. It's too technical. And frankly, the premiums are just too low, believe it or not. So none of that really boils down to, hey, we're going to convince all these insurance agents to like pimp this, cybersecurity control products for us. No, it's not going to happen. Here's an easy example. I'm just going to kind of use round numbers to keep it easy. Small business cyber policies, $2,000 a year. All right. Well, the insurance agency probably had to go through a wholesaler, if they're doing it the right way anyways, to get a cyber policy for their client, which means, man, at renewal, they're probably only making 10%. So that's $200 a year on a cyber policy. Now, the actual agent on that file, man, let's say he makes half of that. That's $100 a year before tax. How much time are you going to spend on something that makes you $100 a year? Probably not much. All right. Most insurance agencies are just volume businesses. Anytime that there's like a spanner in the works, it's chaos, right? Absolute chaos. They don't want to deal with it. So think about just the pain of dealing with a cyber question, right? Imagine one of these external vulnerability scans come out, and they're always terribly worded, and they try to make them look pretty, and it just defeats the purpose. But anyways, the underwriter had to send that report to the wholesaler, who had to send it to the insurance guy, who had to send it to the end client. Then the end client probably sent it to you. Sorry, MSPs. And then, maybe you have a question about it. Well, then that has to go from the MSP to the client to the insurance guy to the wholesaler to the underwriter to the technical folks. Hopefully they have an answer in some reasonable amount of time. Then the technical folks have to send it back to the underwriter, who sends it to the wholesaler, who then sends it to the insurance guy, who sends it to the client, who sends it to the MSP. And then hopefully that has now resolved the issue at hand. All right, so you can imagine it's not always that simple, and there's more back and forth. And so with that, it's just this huge time suck to deal with something like that. All right. So most people, if they're not already interested in cybersecurity, I mean, you might as well just, stick them in the eye with a hot poker, because to them it is a fate worse than death. You also have to understand that a lot of insurance agencies, they're like, if anybody comes in who's under the age of 65, they're like, well, you're the young guy. You're going to be the cyber insurance guy, right? We need the young guy out there talking about cyber. Well, the young folks, I mean, thankfully I've been doing this for about a decade. The young folks obviously don't want to look stupid. And the people who own these insurance agencies, they don't want their agents looking stupid, because then that could potentially open the door to competition. So it happens all the time where some company calls me and they go, hey, my insurance guy, we started asking him questions about cyber insurance and he didn't know, so we're reaching out to you. Can you write this policy? Now, on the other end of that, there's some insurance guy who's just sweating bullets because the big dollar stuff, or cumulatively big dollar. So now you're talking about, and by the way, so all a bunch of insurance I don't write would be like, the business owner's policy, life, health, auto, workers' comp, umbrella, et cetera, et cetera. That's kind of their traditional basket of knowledge. They don't want that going out the door just because this one cyber question started, kind of unraveling everything. And now suddenly the client doesn't trust that the insurance guy actually knows what he's talking about. So no, there's never going to be, any common thread out there where insurance folks start saying like, hey, client, oh yeah, here's the quote, blah, blah, blah. And by the way, did you know that you're going to get some discounted rate on this particular cybersecurity control? Let me tell you more about it. It's not going to happen. All right. And then really the death nail is they would be insane to do that. Right? Why? We work in the world of doom and gloom. I deal with, potential claims and claims every week. So yeah, we're very sensitive to that stuff. And guess what we don't have? We don't have insurance coverage under our insurance E&O for cybersecurity consulting. That's not a thing. We're not covered for that. So no, you're not going to have an insurance guy who has no possible way to vet whatever these products are, right? Doesn't want to answer questions on them. Doesn't want to be kind of, that awkward man in the middle if something goes wrong with it, trying to answer questions that he has no concept of understanding to begin with. Much less do we want to get pulled into some vicarious liability claim where the client goes, hey, I got hit with this cyber event. I was using this cybersecurity vendor that was recommended by you through our insurance company. And because of that, I'm going to wrap you into the claim. Now we're looking at vicarious liability, which is potentially an uncovered claim. And that is absolute disaster. All right. So there is not a chance in hell that you are going to start seeing insurance agents, pimping out cybersecurity products, being the outsourced sales force for SentinelOne or AWS or whatever. No, it's never, ever, ever going to happen until maybe the robots take all our jobs, in which case I guess we won't have anything else to worry about. Anyways. All right, next, keep in mind the business owner problem. And hey, this is this is something that I hear from MSPs all the time, right? My own MSP clients where they're like, good God, how do we get the business owners, right, to understand this stuff, to take it seriously, to know about it? So just think, not only is the insurance guy not going to do it, the business owner, he's like, shit, I don't have time for this stuff, right? They're not going to go out there and say, oh, well, I could save 15% by switching to Geico and using their preferred vendor security awareness training. I mean, think about it. They don't know how to vet it. They don't know if it's going to fit into the system. They don't know really what would make one security awareness training program better than the other one. And through all of that, in the back of their minds, they're going, the more time I spend on this, the less time I spend running my business, making money for my business. So I think it would be a very rare business owner, if it ever got to that point, that is even going to give these things a second look. It's just marketing material psychobabble. All right. So, like I said, they don't always want to know. That's unfortunately kind of the cross you guys bear in a lot of regards, where they just don't even want to know about this stuff. right? Next, they may not have the time to know. I mean, I've got plenty of cyber insurance clients and plenty of insurance clients in general that just, it might be a 5-10 minute phone call once a year. And they're totally happy with that. They just go, all right, I trust you. Anything changed? Anything I need to know? Any big threats? All right, we're good. Here's my money. Hopefully I'll talk to you next year on the same day and no time in between. All right. Also, they're not really going to be getting any useful information from their agent. I already spoke about that. And then ideally, they're just going to trust you, right? They've got better things to do. They're just going to trust you. They're going to say, you know, even if they see the marketing material. And by the way, I've had insurance companies for years offering, in some cases, free security awareness training. I can't think of a single client of mine who has ever taken that up, right? Not even once. For all those reasons that I described. Like, it doesn't make sense on so many levels. And if they ask me about it, I'm like, hey man, I'm a former IT, but you know what? If your MSP already has this thing covered, just go with what they have, because I'm not going to be in a position where I start, you know, talking about how one security awareness training platform is better than the other security awareness training platform. Like, that's not what I do. I don't have insurance for it, and I don't want to get into that world. All right. Now, I would say how to handle the influx of all this stuff. I would say just be proactive. All right. So as an example, I would just go to your clients at your next QBR and say, hey, by the way, you know, cyber insurance companies are coming out with vulnerability scans, for example. All right. So if you ever get a report from your cyber insurer, hey, man, we love to see those things. All right. Our job here is to keep you safe. If somebody has a different perspective on something, we want to take a look at that. Now, that being said, it's not perfect. It's just an external scan. So there could be some, you know, kind of mitigating controls in there that make it not that big of a deal. So don't freak out. But if you get it, please send that over to us. We want to make sure we're keeping you safe. All right. And then, of course, you know, you can always tell them our ego takes a backseat to your security. All right. You can call our baby ugly. That's totally fine. We want to make sure we're keeping you safe. Now, who do I think would ultimately use these? Really kind of two groups. I'd say you're either too small for an MSP or you're too large for an MSP. So even if it got all the way through the pipeline, which I never think is going to happen, you're too small or you're too large. All right. So too small, like, hey, if they don't want to pay for security awareness training, I mean, they probably don't have a cyber policy to begin with to even get that stuff. But let's say they're too cheap to pay for security awareness training. Well, there you go. They're probably too cheap to pay for an MSP to begin with. So hopefully you don't even have that problem. And then too large would be somebody that already has like a full-time in-house cybersecurity team. They can actually vet the software. But even my clients that are that big, they're not really interested in this stuff because they've already gone through that process. They know what works in their system. They're comfortable with what they have. They understand the dashboards and the layouts and the reports. And so just to kind of throw a wrench into the system to save 10% by switching to some other type of vendor, they're just generally not super interested in that type of stuff. They're dealing with real threats and real issues. And so I've never really even had that ever. I can't think of any large clients even that have ever posed the question to me about, hey, this vendor has preferred rates through our cyber insurer, and they've gotten all the literature. All right. With that, less than 15 minutes. If you like this video, like, share, comment, subscribe. Once again, MSPs, you have nothing to worry about. InsurSec is not going to be making you guys irrelevant anytime soon. Right above me here is another video that I think you will enjoy. And then over there, if you click on my face, you can subscribe to my channel. All right, guys, with that, stay safe.